All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the head apostle, Nettles, a great millstone who rule well. I want to touch on this video right here from the THPP network concerning these rotting BBLs. All right. I'll leave the link in the description box so you can watch it for yourself. I'm not going to play much of this. I'm just going to play a couple seconds of it concerning these females that get these BBLs, and these BBLs start rotting on them and start stinking, start deteriorating, and even start producing maggots, right? And this is the length and the extremities that these women are willing to go for attention. Okay, let's play this clip.
To do but get on into it. Let's go.
White savages, it's getting so bad out there that the BBLs out here are not only just smelling, but they are also rotting. And you know I hate to have to agree with the 3 or 4 rappers, but Ruby Rose might be speaking some truth, that these BBL injections into your booty and your boobs will truly be...
Hey, she got maggots coming out of her ass, all right? And, you know, these women that experience these various different problems with, you know, smells coming out of their rectum from these BBL injections, even maggots, you know, they really seek to, you know, cure the smell, get rid of the maggots, but ultimately they want to keep the BBLs, right? And they're willing to go through various different procedures, take various different medications so they can keep their BBLs, right? These women are willing to go to high-level extremities for attention, okay? Which that attention they receive results into that self-gratification.
And you know I hate to have to agree with the 3 or 4 rappers, but Ruby Rose might be speaking some truth, that these BBL injections into your booty and your boobs will truly be the death of you.
Yeah, you know, BBLs rotting, producing maggots, right? There's another piece of this video I want to play as well, right here, where you got testimonials of these women that have had BBLs that have got them removed, their testimony on dealing with these BBL injections. Okay, and this is predominantly amongst the you know, amongst these women in the, you know, Judite community, so to speak. You know, the so-called Black woman, and also the so-called Latino woman. Okay, but you know, the various tribes and, you know, these other nations, some of these other nations as well, are also getting these BBL injections. Okay.
Use public restrooms. It was when I would use public restrooms, it would stink so bad and the smell would linger. It was like an embarrassment. I didn't want to come out the bathroom with it smelling like that and someone else was waiting at the door. When I say that BBL really ruined my life, I even lost my boyfriend behind it. He was telling me the whole time, like, you're stinking real bad down there and I can't stomach it.
She said she lost. Hey, she said that BBL ruined her life. You know, she said the stink from that BBL got so bad she didn't even want to come out of the bathroom stall. The stink from that BBL smelled worse than shit. It smells worse than a doo-doo, right? You know, she said that BBL ruined her life. Okay, but these women will hear these testimonials. They'll hear these horror stories of these BBL injections. Okay, and they'll still go through and get them, right?
Rooms. It would stink so bad and the smell would linger. It was like an embarrassment. I didn't want to come out the bathroom with it smelling like that and someone else was waiting at the door. When I say that BBL really ruined my life, I even lost my boyfriend behind it. He was telling.
It says on how that BBL ruined my reputation. My sit down air smelled like a dumpster. My goodness.
Me the whole time, like, you're stinking real bad down there, and I can't stomach it.
Yeah, and these women get these BBLs and they still can't get a man. All right, they just become worse sluts and whores than they already are. Okay, and like I said, these women get these BBLs. These injections, liposuction, breast implants. Lip transplants and lip infusions, whatever you want to call them. Okay, from the attention that they receive, right? Let's go to Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. Because, like I said, this is predominantly amongst the so-called black woman. All right, but you do have a number of so-called Latino women getting these BBLs. And, these BBLs come with, heavy adverse effects. All right. And when you get these BBLs, you got to work out with them. You got to take certain medications, and they just don't look right. All right, they're unproportionalized, and these women that get these BBLs, they just don't get something that looks moderate or somewhat realistic. They go above and beyond. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 3, and let's go down to verse 24. It says, "And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be a stink." Okay. That stink that these women have. Okay. I would say a good number of these women have, from improper hygiene, not bathing correctly, and also sleeping around with multiple men. Right. Well, this is just an add-on to that. All right. They were stinking and stunk without the BBL. Right. So you add a BBL bacteria, BBL fungus, BBL maggots to that, and man, oh man, okay, you got a hell of a concoction right there, right? This is Isaiah 3 and 24. It says, "And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well-set hair, baldness," right? Especially the so-called Negro woman, right? The Judite woman. The majority of the Judite women are bald, man. They can't grow their hair out. That was a curse that Most High Yahweh put upon them, right? It says, "Instead of well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty." Instead of working out, proper dieting, eating right, running, you know what I'm saying? They resort to going to the doctor to get liposuction, to get fat removed from here, fat removed from over there, to be put in the ass, to be injected in the ass, right? Matter of fact, I think there's a clip. This doctor speaking on it, if I can find it. And this is another result of feminism. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. If I can, it's all good. Yeah, right here. Yeah. There we go.
There's a fat into each butt cheek.
And you won't believe how she's doing it. Stephanie is doubling down on fatty foods.
Fat is the new gold in plastic surgery.
When Stephanie weighs in, she saw that she...
You heard what he said. Fat is the new gold in plastic surgery. So these women are overeating, gaining poundage before they go into surgery so that they can take that poundage that they have gained and put it in, those regions that they are trying to add on to, predominantly their buttocks area. Okay.
Term. And some doctors will inject liters upon liters of fat into each butt cheek.
And you won't believe how she's doing it. Stephanie is doubling down on fatty foods.
Salakia. So what the hell is going on? Come on, man. Yeah, like I said, this is predominantly the so-called black woman, but you'd also have the so-called Latino woman as well that are heavy into BBL, as you see right here. Okay.
Don't believe how she's doing it. Stephanie is doubling down on fatty foods.
Some of these women look decent already. You know, some of these women have a good figures or decent figures. You know, some of these women are somewhat in shape. They're not, morbidly obese. All right, they got somewhat of a figure, and they're still pursuing to get these BBL surgeries, man. All right.
On fatty foods.
Fat is the new gold in plastic surgery.
When Stephanie weighs in, she saw that she gained 12 pounds of fat.
That little S curve, look at that. That is what's gorgeous on her.
Dr. Mendieta marks the fat-rich deposits that will be harvested to create that Kim K butt.
I want all this to go here.
Dr. Mendieta first.
Yeah, these various different people that in Hollywood and these celebrities, this is what these women look to as that sex symbol, so to speak. That figure of what looks good and what is desired, right? And they seek to be like these women that they see in Hollywood. And these people, these women in Hollywood, they have these various different surgeries. They have these BBLs. They have these injected lips, breast implants, etc. Okay. And the majority of men, that's not attracted to them. Okay. BBLs, the breast implants, this, that, and so forth, that is not attractive to the majority of men. Okay.
Lipos the fat cells from Stephanie's back, hips, and tummy. Fat is then drawn into syringes.
I'm going to inject 2 to 3 pounds per side. Kim, you see this huge swoop. It goes in.
Yeah, so they take that fat, and he got a picture of Kim Kardashian right in the doctor's office, in the doctor's room, and the patients look at Kim Kardashian and they say, "Oh my God, wow! So you're gonna make me look like that?" And the doctor said, "Yep." So you see that big ass syringe he's got, and that's full of fat that he's taking it from various areas of this woman, and they inject it, in various different places. Predominantly, the buttocks of these women that are getting these BBL surgeries, man. And this woman, her BBL done rotted and deteriorated, bacteria has grown, and maggots are forming. Okay, inside her rear area. You see them joints crawling around through, bro, through. Let's get one more scripture and we can close out. Let's go to Sirach chapter 26. And let's go down to verse 10. It says, "If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty." And these women are shameless. They have no shame. And it says, "Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty." And these women have been given overmuch liberty, and they are abusing themselves. And this is part of that abuse. You see it. Okay, they're getting these surgeries. They're getting BBLs. They're doing various different things. They're involved in heavy abominable works, abominable acts. Okay, they wear as a badge of honor, their promiscuity. Okay, them being with multiple men, having multiple relationships, and even having multiple kids by various different men having multiple baby daddies. Right. It says, "If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty." And that overmuch liberty has been given to these women by Esau Edom. Okay. And Esau Edom is pushing them and persuading them to reveal more, do more. Okay. To show more. And you can have more than one man. And if you have a man, guess what? You can deal with another man. It's okay. You could deal with a woman. And we speak about the various different things that Esau has set up for these women to facilitate their actions, to facilitate them, being whores. Okay, like the scripture says, thy wife, what is it? Let me get that real quick. Thy wife shall be a harlot in the city. Let's see here. Bear with me one moment. Let's go to Amos, the 7th chapter. And let's go down to the 17th verse. This is Amos 7 and 17. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword. And, you know, this is what is pushed heavy in Babylon the Great, okay, America. You know, these women being involved in whoredom. And that's what's, pushed in the limelight. That's what's pushed on the big screen, TV. That's what's pushed in Hollywood. And this is what these women seek to have and seek to obtain. They seek that look, but they also seek more than just the look. They want to play the part. Okay. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of this land. Okay. And, we are in a polluted land. First and foremost, this land has been polluted by the blood of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, let's go back to Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, and let's start at 16, and then we can wrap it up. This is Isaiah 3 and 16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. Yeah, our women are very, very prideful. It says, walking and mincing as they go and making a twinkling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls and their round tires like the moon, the chains, the bracelets, all these tangible things that you have. Okay, your security, your Instagram, your Facebook, the various different means that you can receive attention, because that's what these women ultimately seek. They want the attention. That's why they're all over Facebook, they're all over Instagram, they're all over the dating apps. Okay. They're addicted to that attention that they receive by these various different means. In times past, before we had an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all these various different things, women really had to go out to receive the attention that now they can receive just sitting at the convenience of their home. They can get thousands and thousands upon thousands and thousands of likes. They can get hundreds of thousands of inboxes from men. Okay, they can sit back from the comfort of their home and receive be a multi-millionaire. All right, off of showing pictures of their feet and having an OnlyFans. It says the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings. Yeah, society as you know it is drastically going to change, and these women have no clue what's about to take place in Babylon the Great. They think everything's going to be smooth and copacetic. It says the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the whipples and the Christmas pins. Yeah, the times that we're coming in are very, very harsh times. And it's going to be harsh, it's going to be harsh for men and women, but hey, the woman is the weaker vessel, man. Okay, so you do the math, right? These women think that they're always going to have a clothes to change into, a washer and a dryer, warm water. They think that these trinkets, these phones, these computers, the convenience to go here and there, they think that's just always going to be around. Well, those times are coming to an end. All right. We're coming to the times where, like it speaks about in 2 Ezra the 15th chapter. And if you think those BBLs are stinking now, hey, wait till all hell breaks loose. Where they can't get no clean shower, where they ain't got no deodorant, These women are going to be stinking on a very high level, man. All right. And these women are going to be seeking someone to protect them. Hell nah. It says Isaiah 3 and verse 22. It says the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the whipples and the crispin pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. Okay. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle of rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Verse 25, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachach, Wadash. Double honors to the head apostle, Nettles, a great millstone, who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to you, sincere Akim, that are pushing this truth all over the four corners of the earth, week in and week out, in all truth and sincerity, and shalom to the elect.